In Congress. Joining me right now is Karoline Leavitt. Karoline, good to have you here.
Good to see you again, John.
You are a young generation, millennial generation. We see all these polls talking about socialism is popular with young people. How do we change that narrative in America?
Well, I must correct you. I'm actually Generation Z.
You're even
yes,
that's right.
I would be the first Generation Z member of Congress. Now, Rep. Madison Cawthorn might correct me on that. He likes to say he's Gen Z, but I believe it starts in 1997. So I will be the first Gen Z. I do, yes. And I will break Elise's record. So honored to have her endorsement here today. But you mentioned socialism, and it's one of the reasons that drove me to run for Congress. As a young person, you know, I live amongst a generation of young voters who truly believe in socialism. And a lot of them believe in even worse. I mean, Marxists is what we have on our hands these days in America. They have weaponized every institution in our country against conservative values and principles that we know make America great, right? Mainstream media, not you, of course, John, but many others in our corporate media. The higher education system has been hijacked by leftists. Our entire federal government now is run by Democrats. You know, we have the Hollywood, just our entire culture is really slamming socialism down the throats of young voters, and they're eating it up. And so as a young person, I felt very compelled in my heart to step up, to fight for our great country that allowed my family to live the American dream. And so we are changing minds of young people on the campaign trail. You ask me how, so I'll mention two ways. First, it's in-person events. I've spoken at nearly every college campus in our district already. Wow. Yes, and much to the dismay of the liberals on campus. Sure. Dartmouth College was, we had a bit of a fiasco there with some of the liberals, but that's okay. We love peaceful protests. And then secondly, my campaign invests heavily in digital marketing. We have to target those demographics, and we've seen the results. We had an event in Manchester, New Hampshire. Over half the crowd was young people. They saw our ads and they decided to come out and attend. So cool there is hope, and it's going to take young candidates to do it. You know, I spent a lot of time covering campaigns in Manchester as a young reporter, and one of the things that always come to mind, fiscal sanity, all this spending, this 3, 4, 5 trillion, whatever the final number is. How is that playing in the good people of New Hampshire? Oh, it is the utmost priority of mine to rein in the spending when I get down to Washington next year. And people are really hurting in New Hampshire right now. We're seeing small businesses, mom and pop diners. I was reading a story this morning about one not in my district, but in our great state that had to shut down due to the labor shortages. And so we have the highest inflation in 31 years. It's killing our small business owners across all of our industries. And then we also have these labor shortages. You know, my family's a small business. We own a car dealership, and we have just 12 employees. They've been with us for years and they work their butts off. But now we're being forced to compete with McDonald's and these corporations down the street that are offering to pay them $18 an hour. And we can't afford that. It's very unfair what's going on. And to your point, in New Hampshire, we have true fiscal conservatives across the board, no matter how they identify politically. And so I think it's going to be a red wave in New Hampshire and definitely across our country next year. Reining in spending, reining in socialism, two big missions. We're going to be watching this race.